Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to show you all the progress that we've made in our garden so far. Now, I'm not going to have a long intro for you. I'm going to talk you guys through everything step by step as I'm showing it to you. But just an overview of what we're doing here. We are building our beds, moving them into the final positions, and you'll see us digging a trench around the garden where we're going to put our gate. Now let's get into the video and I'll talk to you guys through it all. The first thing we did was order the wood. So we created our list of items that we need, how many sizes, what type of wood we need, and we tried price matching it. And it came out for, in our area, the cheapest one was Home Depot. So here we have our wood being delivered. It was a very rainy day, and we asked the guy if he can possibly drive the lift all the way to the backyard, and he did not feel comfortable driving over the wet ground. So he is dropping it over here on the side of the driveway, and we're going to have to walk this piece by piece to the backyard. Now, these boards are 16 feet long. They are the entire length of our beds. We were trying to have to make the least cuts possible. So these are long, heavy pieces of wood to carry. So initially we set out, my husband and I, and we were like, we're going to do this together. But as you'll see a lot in this video, that it ends up being a lot of my husband's work, and I'm just in the background assisting whenever possible. But it's mostly him doing all the work. Okay, so now that we have our wood delivered, we can set to work. The first thing we are doing is that we're taking one 2x8x16 and we're cutting it into 4-foot boards. So we're going to have 2x8 by 4 feet. And these pieces, that means each of these 16 feet boards is making 4 pieces. These 4 pieces will create the ends of our bed, because our beds are going to be 4 feet wide by 16 feet long. And we are stacking these too high, so our bed is going to be 16 inches high. So this is what we're doing first, and we're going to cut through for all our beds. So we're cutting down 6 boards this way, and we are working together over here. We're marking, we're measuring, marking, cutting, measuring to confirm that we made the right cut, and dropping it where we need it to be. Now over here you can see my husband is showing me how to use the machine, and there's something just, it feels so powerful to use these power tools. Once I make this cut, you'll see that we're going to flip over the board. Now, for some reason, not for some reason, the blade that we're using, this machine can't handle a bigger blade, and this blade doesn't cut all the way across the 8 inches. So what we're doing is that we're flipping it over so we can finish that cut, and then you can see it just falls off. And we're going to repeat this process until we cut all the pieces that we need for all 6 new beds. Once we make that cut, we can move the board to where we're going to assemble the beds, and we're going to assemble them where they're supposed to be. Now that we finished cutting all those pieces, and you can see that we place them where we need them, we're going to bring in our boards that will create the length of the bed. And over here, the board landed on my feet, and I actually wasn't even wearing technically safety gear. I was wearing just some slippers, and this was the best safety gear I could have used because it did not hurt. It hurt me for like when I had the weight on my foot, on my toe, but sorry about that. But once I removed it, just 2 seconds later, I was feeling completely fine. But now we're gonna bring in just the boards for one bed at a time, because we were on a time crunch, and we figured let's just bring them as we need them to A, conserve energy, and B, so that we can see the progress, seeing the base built. I mean seeing the bed built. So we're gonna do one bed at a time, but first the first layer for each of them. So we're gonna do the bottom layer for all of them, and then we'll come back around and we'll do the second layer on top of that. The way we're going to do this is my husband's taking the screw, driving it in partially. Then he's going to line up one of the 4 feet boards with one of the 16 feet boards. And once it's lined up and level, he's going to finish driving in the screws all the way. And he's putting another screw for security. And he's going to do this for all the 4 sides, all the 4 corners. Next up, he's taking a corner brace and he's going to put it inside the bed and secure it in place. And that will hold the boards even tighter together. And when it comes time to build the second layer, then it's going to be a lot easier because the brace will hold it as support. And you can see that right here. He's putting the 4-foot board on top of the previous one, and it's just holding up. Now he's securing it to the brace, and now we're getting a 16-foot board. Now you can't see me. I'm standing at the other end of the board, and I'm helping him hold it up because this won't hold up just with a brace. And I'm holding it in position, and he's gonna secure it from both the outside and the inside, just like we did with the first layer. And like I told you earlier, that it's going to be mostly my husband working. Over here I was busy with, I'm not even sure what, but he managed to bring over the wood by himself. He dragged it, and he managed to build it all by himself. I didn't have to hold up any boards for him, and he got all of this done without my help. As you can see, there's a gap there because the wood is bent. Let's see, what's your idea? So here in this one bed, and only in this one bed, there was a gap between the 4-foot board and the 16-foot board, and we couldn't bridge it. We couldn't bring it together. Every time my husband tried screwing it in, it popped out. And the reason for this is because it was just so bent and warped and out of shape. So the solution was that he found a few pieces of scrap wood laying around, and he screwed it in, as you can see, one at the 4-foot end of the bed and another in the middle of the 16-foot board. And with the ratchet strap, he is able to pull it in tight and... Oh yes, it's working. It's working, it's working. Okay. I think that tiny little gap is okay.
I'm gonna bring another different type of screw.
So there's a tiny little gap here, but with this piece here, this is staying, right?
Yeah.
So then we're fine.
I'm gonna put in one more over here.
And then this is what he wants to do with all the beds. So you're gonna do it over here and on the length also?
Yeah, and the length is the main.
Right. So we're gonna do. How many are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do 2 or 3.
2 or 3 per side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need 3, 6, 8 per bed.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
What we're doing here is I'm just using scrap wood that I'm finding in the backyard, and I'm cutting them into small pieces, and we are gonna put 8 of these small pieces in each bed, so 3 on each side of the length, 1 at the 2 ends of it. And what this is doing is that it is an additional security to keep the 2 layers together and to help prevent any bowing or bending of the wood once we have the soil in there. It's a lot of weight and pushes against the wood. And we see with our beds from last year that they don't always bend together. So with those beds, there's nothing we can do right now because they're full of soil. We're not gonna dig up everything to be able to do this, but we learn from our mistakes, and this is what we're doing with the new beds. And once I'm done cutting them, I just take a pile of 8 and I throw them into the bed, and then my husband comes around and he screws it in place. Our bed over here right now has nothing, but this is one of the beds that will get a tomato trellis over here. So we're going to get some privacy from the neighbors. And this bed over here will also have a trellis going up for tomatoes as well. And again, it'll give us some privacy. Now in here, I see some of our garlic is still sprouting. The variety that I have up here, this end of the bed, is taking a bit longer to sprout, but the ones up there, gorgeous. Look at that. I think every one except for 2 sprouted. I see like there's one missing right down here. Oh no, I see it over here. But I did see one didn't sprout. Well, this one looks shriveled up. Maybe not. There's some nice green on the bottom. You can't even see what I'm looking at. And I think then this is the only one over here. Oh, and it actually is also coming up. So I believe from this variety, every single one that we planted came up. And now over here, this is what I am seeing. Somebody attempted digging up something here. I believe there was a garlic here. So this garlic is a goner. And maybe there's a garlic over here, and we'll see if that comes up or it ruined that one as well. And then over here we got another one of those. I'm gonna put it back to help protect our garlic. And then what else did I see? I hope it's not like buried in here, but my shadow might be affecting it. But it looks like maybe they also dug over here. No, looks okay. But I see a 4th one over here. Might have to review our cameras, see if I can see anything, see who the culprit is. And this was definitely toppled over. This is chives, and hopefully this survives. It should be okay. But yeah, some animal was trying to find something here. Oh, and I wanted to say also that that bed is gonna get a tomato trellis on the back, and we're gonna be planting our onions over here in the front. And our onions, as of today, I started hardening them off. So very soon we'll be able to come out here and transplant it. I am gonna see if I can get a compost delivery before next week when they're ready to be transplanted. If I can't get that, then I think what I'll do is I'll get a couple bags of good compost in the store and fill up at least half of. So our tomatoes are going to be half of the bed, the entire length. So if I can put fresh compost for this half, even though it's more expensive when I buy it from bag, we'll have to do that. So this is another day. We came outside and I'm showing you that my husband put a beam running across in the beds. He did this for all of the 6 new beds. Last year we did 2 of them, but we didn't do the little pieces that you see. And we did it last year to help us move it into the final position and for the support, but the support that we did now is better. And we ended up not needing it. You'll see how we move it, but we're going to move them into the final position because right now they're roughly in place, but they're not exactly where we want them to be. I'm going to set you guys down now so that we can put these into the final spot. And you can see we have some logs laying around over here that I used to weigh down some cardboards when we had planted our garlic. We're going to put those into the beds, those woods. And I also have a few more pieces down here, which we're going to add. And the final spot that we have some wood, we still have to do a yard cleanup. We didn't manage to do one in the fall, but back there I have some more wood as well that we're going to add in here as well. So my husband's measuring out the space. We're going to have 4 feet between each row of beds, and we're going to do 3 feet between each of the beds in this direction. So let's get working. So the way that we end up moving the beds, as you can see, my husband's pulling a little bit, and then I'll come and join him, and I'm going to move it with my feet. I'm going to push them a little bit, pull them a little bit, back and forth until we get them into the place. And my husband's just going with a tape measure, making sure that we have the right spaces everywhere. And I was telling you earlier that we're going to put all the wood that we have laying around inside the beds. The reason why we do this is because we have 16-inch beds. Now, most plants need a root system to go down to like 12 inches to like 14 inches. So I don't need that amount of soil. So I don't have to be worried about filling it up all the way. So to save on a little bit on the soil, because that's the most expensive part of starting a new garden. And even though we're going to be buying this in bulk, which makes it cheaper than buying it by bag in a store, it is still the most expensive part. So if we can save a little bit of money using the wood that we have laying around anyways, they're not good for firewood, they're not good for anything else, we're going to use it for this. And let me give you a closer peek to our garlic. They are getting so tall and so nice. I'm getting so excited to be able to harvest them. So let me turn the camera. The animal. What animal was this? So many holes. I'm gonna have to. The other bed as well. Wow. I'm gonna have to figure this out. This bed is untouched. Okay, let me flip the camera around for you guys. Okay, so this bed is untouched. It looks fine. No animal dug in here. But look in this bed. Okay, first of all, the height of these, when you're looking from down there, it doesn't look as impressive, but look at this. It is growing so gorgeous and tall. But now let me show you what I see. Point down. Look over here. I hope it didn't ruin this garlic over here. But there's like, try it over here as well. Back there, 1 and 2. And over here. And over here. You can't see. And over there, and over there. Back there, a bunch of them. And the other bed. Look at all those holes. We got to figure out what animal this is, and we have to get our fencing in as soon as possible. So I'm guessing this will be a future video of fencing and our hoop system and all that. Filling the soil, folding the beds, that will be a separate video. So if you want to see that, hit subscribe. Okay, so before I start building, I just wanted to update you guys. So I looked at my cameras, and last night at 10:45 p.m., a deer took a stroll. He started from here, was walking over here, and then from here, he jumped over to this bed and strolled down over here. And over here, he nicely just walked over the bed and walked over there and out of the garden space. So we have to make our gate ASAP. My husband is out there. He's going to mark where he's going to dig. We're going to have to rent an auger from a tool rental place here locally. And we'll have to get this done and out of the way because we cannot have this happening again, and we cannot have the animals roaming in here once we start planting out stuff. Okay, so on the day of the previous clip, we were going to come out and build our tomato trellis system. But when we saw that the deer had taken a stroll into the garden beds, we stopped and we were debating back and forth what we should do, and we prioritized putting in the gate first. Now we were going to do soil first because we figured it'll be easiest to fill the beds before we have a gate and we have to work around like the door and the limited, it's not limited space. We made sure that we have enough space, but we figured it'll be a lot easier to move around if we don't have the gate yet. But we prioritized the fence. So what we did was that a few days later, after all the rain, and once it was actually a day after a rain, so the soil was pretty nice easy to work with. I think if it would have been dry, it would have been a lot harder. But we rented a trencher and we're going around the entire garden area, and we are digging an 18-inch trench all the way around so that we can put a fence that goes a foot down, because we have ground dogs on the property. And if you were with us last summer, um, you know that we struggled with them. They kept on coming in and munching at the brassicas and just anything really that they were able to get a hand on. They were just munching on everything. So I am willing to share some of my harvest with the animals, with the wildlife, but I can't be giving them everything. And I can't have them ruin everything after I put in all my effort. So we're going to do whatever we can to protect. And to protect from the groundhog, we're going to do, like I said, the fence will go a foot underground. And we're going to electrocute it as well, but that will be in a future video. Today, I'm just showing you how we are digging the trench around the entire garden area. So here I felt a little bit useless because we just have one machine and it's heavy. It's a lot of heavy work. So I wanted to help out with whatever way possible. So I am going to go around and pick up the staples that are keeping the wheat fabric down at the ends, and I am lifting them up so that when my husband comes around with the trencher, it's not in the way. As you can see, this side of the garden, my husband did not spray where he needs to dig the trench, and that is for two reasons. Reason number one, we ran out of spray paint. Reason number two is I came up with an idea, and I will tell you about it later, but we're going to leave a few feet gap between the wheat fabric and where we make our fence on this side. So I ran over to a store nearby and I picked up a can of spray paint, and I am going to go around now while my husband is digging the trench. I'm going to go around and mark where he should dig on this side. Also on this side of the bed, there was a lot of tree roots and a lot of like little rocks that kept getting stuck in the trencher. So I was sitting down low so that I was able to see if something was getting stuck, and I would motion to my husband, hey, something is there, you got to stop the machine. And also I just think it's so cool to watch this machine, the way it works. It's a lot of hard work. Like you see all that dragging and pulling from the machine. That was hard work for my husband. But now that we got this out of the way, we can continue on with the next step, which we didn't do yet. But I will bring you along the most that I can up to date to today and show you here. Okay, so as for our trench, the last thing that we did here was we marked along the entire length over here where we're gonna put our support for our gate. Now, a decision that I've made pretty much last minute was that on this side of the garden of the garden, which is out here is our backyard. The other side of the garden is our neighbor's property. So over here we left, I think it came to 3 or maybe even 4 feet. And in here, I'm going to plant our perennial flowers, and I'm thinking our really tall sunflowers that I will be growing this year. I think I will also put them in here. Now the reason why I want perennials here is because it's going to come back year to year, and I don't want it taking up space in my bed. And as I'm walking, you can see all the markings that we made for the posts. So like I have an established lavender plant that I want to, not lavender, lilac. Is it lilac or lavender? I confused the two. I'll let you know when we get back around to it. I want to put that in here. I want to start some sage. I want to put that in here. Hopefully it's perennial here. I guess we'll find out. And like I said, I want to put my really tall sunflowers in here. And I started echinacea last year. We'll see if it comes back. So far I don't see anything in those pots. If they do come back, they'll also go in there. So stuff like that. And my goal is eventually to have a bunch of native perennial flowers in there. Over here I'm walking around the entire garden area, and I'm going to show you as well what our onion and garlics look like because I have transplanted them already. So over here we're coming up on our onions. If you can see all the little bit of greens, oh my god, all the little bit of green over here, that's onions, and you can't see it over here really, maybe a little bit. Between the two rows of onions there's a trench over here, and I planted some carrots in there. I did it off camera. I did it one day when I just wanted to be out here by myself. I was trying to catch the rain, so I didn't, like in between two rainstorms, so I just wanted to get out here. So I was like, it'll take too much time to set up the camera and bring you guys along for it. Now over here we have our garlic. They are getting so nice and tall, and I have almost 100% germination. I think I have 2 or 3 that didn't come up. And here I have my plant. Let me see. It's a lavender plant. It's a lavender. So yeah, this is what we want to transplant. Let me continue showing you around. So over here, as you can see, this is just going to be like a 3 foot from the bed to the gate, which is normal that we should be able to pass here. We should be able to bring our wheelbarrow through here. And we are going to have a door on this side as well, so that we should be able to access our garden shed, which is right here. We were thinking of doing it in the corner over here, but it would have been too tight to bring our wheelbarrow through here because we have the bed right here. And yeah, so over here, and this is it. Oh, and I want to show you something else. This morning I came out here and I planted some lettuce seeds right over here and at the end of this bed as well. We are gonna have a arch trellis coming up over here, but by the time we're ready to like put the trellis in and plant whatever is gonna go up the trellis, this lettuce should be coming up anyways and should be pretty much done, and we're gonna be able to plant lettuce elsewhere regardless, because I plan to do a few successions of lettuces so we have them throughout the season. So if you've enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like button. And if you want to see more videos and watch the progress as we fill our beds and complete the gate around the garden, all those things, then consider hitting subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one. I wanted to include this clip here for you guys as well. This is some drone footage that my husband found when he was downloading the footage of us building our garden beds. And this is our last year's garden, all vibrant and growing. And seeing this gave us such motivation to continue working on our garden and building it out, because we know that in no time at all, our 9 beds will look like this, all green and flourishing and producing wonderful vegetables for us and flowers and just living in nature. There's nothing like it.